Hello and welcome to the channel, Phoenix Keia Tarot. Today we're doing a chakra spread all about how to unstuck yourself. Careful how you say that. Now, as always, this is a general reading, okay? But if you have resonated with the title, then this is most likely going to be a reading, regardless of when you pick it up. The titles that I've used have always come from something that I actually did say during your read, okay? So there are no clickbait titles on this channel. Right, so what is going on for our collective? How can our collective unstuck themselves, please? How can our collective unstuck themselves? Right, so what's going on in your environment? The Six of Swords. What's going on with your resources? The Tower. What's going on for you internally, so your private internal world, is the Nine of Wands. What's going on in love, relationships and self-love, self-acceptance, the Moon. Okay, what do you need to say or do? The Five of Swords. What's going on with your higher self and your intuition? The King of Wands, and a message from your higher self, your guidance, your crown chakra, that's the Seven of Wands. Okay, immediate overall energy is the King of Coins. Interesting. So your immediate overall energy is actually looking really, really stable. So that's like outer appearances. You're holding it together, collective. You are doing a really good job of holding it together. You're doing a good job of, I mean, basically, when people look at you, they wouldn't realize that anything was going on with you. Do you know what I mean? Now, you can take that as a positive or a negative, okay? Because again, like, everyone's situation is going to be different, right? Some of you might be really glad that people outside of you wouldn't clock that there was anything going on with you, okay? Others of you, that might make you feel a little bit sad. You know, it's like, why hasn't anyone seen that I'm struggling? Why is that unrecognizable for others? Basically, collective, because everyone is busy, worried about their own thing. Do you know what I mean? What's underneath that one? Judgment. Yeah. King of Coins for Judgment. I feel that that combination is you reevaluating something that you've been working on, for, or towards for like the longest time. With that Judgment being underneath that one, you're reevaluating it closely and trying to figure out, is this the thing that I want to be doing for like the next 10, 20, maybe even 30 years time? Is this really what's bringing me stability? Is this really the thing that, you know, I want to be retiring doing, basically, okay? Because your King of Coins, that's very, very grounded energy. It's long-term energy, okay? The King of Coins type individual, they don't invest themselves in anything for the short term, okay? Short term is not going to cut it for someone who is coming from the place of the King of Coins energy. I mean, they're literally all about being practical, being a provider, protecting the ones that they love, you know, and looking for security in their lives. And if they don't find it, they go out of their way to create it. And I feel that this is your overall concern at this point in time. How can you create long-term stability and security for yourself and for your family? Because again, someone who is in the King of Coins mindset is an individual who is very much family orientated, family driven, okay? Again, you have to keep an eye on these cards because it's not about the physical gender of an individual, okay? It's always about the polarization of the feminine or the masculine principle that someone is leaning more in towards, okay? So whether you identify as being masculine, feminine or gender fluid, it doesn't make a sodding difference, okay? This is literally, at the moment, you're leaning more into your masculine energy, which is the state of doing, okay? So you're being very proactive about your future, about your business. For some of you, it could be about your studies as well, okay? And again, like, you can turn that and say you're being really proactive about your self-growth studies. So you could be studying yourself, why you do certain things, why you think the way that you do, why you respond in certain ways, what are better ways of responding. I always get the image of a very stoic individual whenever I see the King of Coins, okay? Again, it's not about man or woman. It's about the energy. Someone who's very stoic, someone who doesn't really want the outside world knowing all of their business. Very, very private individual. Someone who's very ethical as well, okay, collective. So again, to put this in energy into context, I see you really studying something to do with ethics. Could be your ethics. It could be you creating a strong line of ethics that you have vowed yourself to follow and never deviate away from that. You could also be studying the ethics of a company that you're working for, rival companies that you're going up in competition against. You know, it's like, well, what are their ethics and how can we do things differently? Okay, the combination of the King of Coins and Judgment, you're very much deep in thought about the things that really feel right for you, what sits right for you, and what is going to bring you the most stability and security in the near future, and what is going to last you for a long time. Okay, so what's going on in your environment? The Six of Swords, yeah. Again, reading within context. It's going to require you to leave something behind, collective, okay? Some of you are probably realizing, again, that either your family unit or your social circle or someone that you were working for or with, their ethics were not in alignment with yours. Something was off, something was wrong, okay? So in your environment, you're moving on, okay? You're leaving something behind. You're creating distance between yourself and whoever or whatever this unethical thing is, okay? What's going on with your resources? The Tower. Okay, so your resources. Now, resources, that's going to mean lots of different things to lots of different people. Okay, for some of you, it's going to be your straight up finances. For others of you, it could mean about your time or your energy. So, however it resonates, that's private for you. Okay, this tells us that your resources is going to take a hit, and I do feel that they do pertain to your finances, okay? Your finances are very likely to take a temporary hit because of your ethics. Again, everything about the environment that you're wanting to move out of, for your finances to take this temporary hit, it is indicating that that's a good call. That is a good call. Okay. There could also be some kind of guilt or shame that you're needing to process and release. Again, for those of you who do have dependents, children, sick members of the family that are relying on you to bring in the money, that there is going to be a lot of guilt and shame associated with that temporary financial hit, okay? When all is said and done, collective, every so often in life, you are going to find yourself having to make decisions that from the outside looking in would appear to be the selfish decision. But sometimes life works that way, okay? Sometimes you have to put yourself first. I do apologise. Kitten climbing up my leg. Right, okay. She's in my lap now. I mean, There is chaos energy here that's going on with your resources, but do you know what? Again, you have to keep things in context, collective. It's like, were things not chaotic anyway? Do you know what I mean? So at some point, you're going to have to make that compromise, yeah? And we see that going on internally with your Nine of Wands. I do apologise, I'm trying to hold a kitten with one hand and then read your cards with the other. She is trouble, just like her mummy. Right, Nine of Wands. What's going on for you internally? You stuck. Okay. This feels like your identification with your higher self, okay? And it is the card of perseverance. So you are going to have to give yourself that pep talk once in a while, collective, on how you can persevere, how you can really reinforce your own personal boundaries, okay? Your Nine of Wands tells you that, look, you're very, very close to success. So, you know, to rest on your laurels at this point in the game would be really foolish, okay? This is a test of faith that you have within yourself, a test of faith of your own abilities. It's like you know deep down that you can pull this off, okay? You know deep down that as long as you're resilient and you keep up the good fight, as it were, that you will succeed, okay? You can feel more confident by standing up for yourself a lot more as well, collective, okay? That's all the Nine of Wands energy. And again, that guilt and shame, that fear of disappointing other people, these are all things that can help you to unstuck yourself. A lot of you are doing careers or have taken career paths or are doing things in your day-to-day life that you don't want to do, but you're doing it because of that fear of disappointing other people. Collective, you cannot live that way. This is why you're feeling so stuck, because you're living at the behest of others. That's not going to work, okay? There is no future in living in that manner. So that's why the Nine of Wands is telling you, like, this is your higher self screaming at you. Stand up for yourself. Lay those boundaries. Don't feel guilty for telling people no. Stop allowing people to treat you like you're a doormat, okay? This is all your internal energy. And then you're grappling with that guilt and shame of when you do have to say no to certain people. This is where your focus needs to be. Why do you feel guilty for telling people no? Okay, where does that come from? Where does that fear of disappointing other people come from? It comes from your upbringing, right? Almost always, these sorts of things, they come from your childhood, okay? Straight up. It's childhood programming. Always having to make your parents proud, but never actually quite getting there because they kept moving the goalposts. That's the types of people that I'm speaking to in this read. It's time for you to make your own goalposts. It's time for you to reach your own goals. Lay out your own rules. This is the way that things are going to be from now on. Okay? That's all the Nine of Wands energy. What's going on in love, relationships, and self-love, self-acceptance, your heart chakra? It's the moon. Fears, secrets, deep, deep feelings. You're a very complex individual, okay? You're the type of person that loves to give compliments, but when someone tries to give you a compliment in return, it makes you feel icky, makes you feel awkward. Your knee-jerk reaction is that person's being fake, okay? They're not, right? When someone gives you a compliment, collective, accept it with the grace of which it was given. I'm going to insert a footnote here, unless of course you know full well that you're dealing with someone who is a narcissist, okay? Someone who only gives compliments because they're wanting something off the other person, all right? Unless you know for a fact that you're dealing with someone like that, then yeah, obviously, allow that compliment to sort of wash over you, you know. But when it comes from a well-meaning individual, definitely accept it with the grace of which it was given, okay? Not everybody is out to hurt you, and I know that that's really, really difficult to believe. It's the God's honest truth, though, okay? I'm feeling that there's this message about self-acceptance and your inability to trust in your own intuition, constantly waiting for that other foot to drop. It's like, with this being the moon in your heart chakra, it's almost like you were taught that you have to keep your feelings to yourself. Now, as a child, being taught that, and that being the programming that you received, that you had to keep your feelings to yourself, whether it was happiness, frustration, grief, whatever. I'm going to tell you exactly why those adults around you told you to keep your feelings to yourself. Because it was inconvenient for them. Because they themselves were incapable of processing their own emotions, that the emotions of their own child was far, far too stressful. Okay? Again, this is another way that you can unstuck yourself. Work through all of that childhood programming, okay? Start going through it all one by one by one, and recognizing you back then and right now are and were entitled to your feelings. You are and were entitled to feel, honor, and have your feelings and emotions acknowledged. But because they weren't, that then led you to seeking external validation. Okay? You might be receiving validation through tarot readings. So, tarot readings are really, really good for being able to validate the situations that you went through, your feelings, and then they're really, really good on giving advice on how you can process and start honoring and then releasing those associated feelings. Okay, like tarot is phenomenal for that. Okay, at some point, collective, again with this being the moon in your heart chakra, at some point, collective, you are gonna have to give yourself the validation that you were missing, that you know that you were in need of and are still in need of. Okay? This is why the moon is in your heart chakra. You haven't yet gotten to that place of giving yourself the validation. At some point you will, and you're going to feel liberated to the point where it honestly feels like an entire weight has been lifted off of you. Okay? What do you need to say or do? The Five of Swords. Stop avoiding conflict. It sounds weird. It sounds counterintuitive. But stop avoiding conflict. At some point in your life, collective, you are going to have it out with the people from your past who programmed you in such a manner that led you to feeling guilt, shame, invalidated, unloved, that made you feel like you were a burden. At some point, you're going to have to speak up and speak your truth. It is likely going to lead towards a conflict, but conflicts are not always necessarily 100% negative. There are ways and means of which you can have a conflict where it's non-abrasive. Does that make sense? If anybody refuses to hear you out and hear your truth about facts that happened to you and things that you're legit going through, then again, you're going to have to put up boundaries with them. So for example, you go back to your caregivers or whatever, and you say, I remember X, Y, Z, and I remember you teaching me this, that, and the next. And now as an adult, I can see that your teachings were wrong. And here's now why you and me don't speak, don't get along, whatever. Okay? At some point, that conversation is going to need to come out. And the other person, I can guarantee you, they're going to gaslight you. You misremembered that. I never said that. I never did that. Whatever problems you have, that's your problem. It's not my fault. It was your fault. You were such a difficult child. Blah, 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 blah. Okay? Write it down. Write down all of the things that you disagree with that person with. Okay? I'm also going to tell you as well, collective, that person was in competition with you. They were in competition with you. That's why they bullied you. That's why they intimidated you. That's why they were constantly in this mindset of how they have to win at all costs against you. That's why they were aggressive to you. Okay? They were in competition with you. Why? Ask yourself, why were they in competition with you? Because you have something that they are lacking. Because you're a bloody decent human being. And they're lacking that. That's why they were in competition with you. They saw these traits, these qualities, this beautiful, beautiful energy that you possess. They don't have it and they wanted it for themselves. And that's why it's vitally, vitally important that you fall back in love with yourself all over again. Does that make sense? I'm not speaking in like a narcissistic manner. I mean, fall in love with yourself. Those qualities that I've just mentioned, that person was in competition with you for, yeah, that's a starting point for your self-acceptance. The King of Wands, this one is in the position of what's going on with your higher self and with your intuition. It's being bold, it's being optimistic, it's taking charge, taking control. A King of Wands, that's the go-getter. That's the risk taker. That's the natural born leader, the entrepreneur. It's someone who can see the bigger picture. It's someone who can really take the initiative and take their life in both their hands and say, this is mine and I'm going to make the damn best of it that I can. Okay? A King of Wands is someone who is literally a force to be reckoned with. You try telling a King of Wands what to do. Oof. And I tell you, if anybody criticises someone who is carrying the King of Wands energy, someone who criticises them and says, you can't do X, Y, Z, the King of Wands is going to laugh in their face, say, watch me. They're going to go off and do it. And they're going to do it to the point where they become a fucking legend doing it. Do you know what I mean? So the other person, the naysayers, end up with the whole omelette on their face. You know? Not just egg on their face, but the whole omelette. Yeah? That's the King of Wands. It's defiance. It's defiance in the best way possible. And collective, you're needing to start practicing being defiant in the face of nasty little shits. For lack of a better way of putting it. Okay? Guys, you know me on this channel. I don't use fluffy language, flowery language. I'm going to give it to you straight. Spirit's wanting for you to start taking control of your own life, start being defiant against those that you know full well do not have your best interests at heart, in spite of what they may say, because their actions have proved to you time and time again otherwise. Okay? You want to be that boss? You want to be that entrepreneur? You want to put out to the world your latest invention, your latest creation, your latest idea? Do it. Do it. The King of Wands is very charismatic. You have charisma by the buckets, and yet you've never utilized it because of all that self-doubt, that shame, that fear of disappointing others. Oh, I can't really fully, completely be myself because I would be a disappointment to such and such a person. Fuck 'em. Be defiant, okay? Your guidance, 7 of Wands, telling you the same. It's telling you the same, 7 of Wands. Standing your ground. Defending your boundaries, defending your position. Constantly being challenged, but you know what? Constantly persevering in spite of the challenges that are being presented. Protecting yourself. Okay. This is your guidance. Stop being a people pleaser. Especially for those who are just wanting to keep you under the thumb, under their control. Okay? You have a healing message for our collective, please? Some of you are saying, I don't feel that I have the right to defend myself or stand up for myself. That's bullshit. You do have the right to stand up for yourself. And you need to start exercising that right. Okay? Such an awkward deck to shuffle. Right. Old feelings are resurfacing. And again, you find yourself on an emotional roller coaster. Do not fight it. Instead, allow these feelings to surface without judging them. They're neither good nor bad. They are simply a part of you. Own them, embrace them, and love them. Bless the past and be grateful for the deep and profound healing that is now taking place. I cannot make it up. That card literally encompasses your entire tarot reading, almost word for word. Honor your feelings. Start giving yourself validation. Okay? External validation is absolutely lovely, but the most powerful form of validation you can ever receive is the validation you give yourself. It sounds cheesy, but please trust me on this. Do not give in to fear and doubt. Courage is called for now. Face your fear. Look at things objectively. You're safe and all is well. Fill your fear with love. Beyond the fear, love is guiding you, urging you to break free. You will succeed. Yeah. Beautiful messages from Spirit there for you. Absolutely beautiful. So yeah, I do need to leave that one there. I genuinely hope that that has helped out at least one person. If it has resonated for you, please do let me know by dropping a like on the video, as that will help push the message out to other people who are needing to hear it, and it will also help keep you engaged with the channel as well. Oh yes, the playlist. For further clarification or to go check out your other signs, then there should be a playlist that appears in the top right hand corner of the screen. It says November Tarot Readings. If you're on mobile, that link would not have popped up. Okay, I don't know why. YouTube broke it. It only works on desktop or TV. Personal readings, they are available on my website, which is phoenixkeiatarot.com. The link for that should be in my description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.